In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the neutral safety switch on your Honda Pilot. This will be located under the battery. Let's get started. Using a 10mm socket, loosen the terminals on the battery. Remove the negative first, pop it off to the side, remove the positive, loosen the wing nuts, then remove the poles, and pull the bracket back as I pull the battery out, and remove the battery from the car. On the back side of the battery tray, there's going to be a cable stay. Remove the cable, pull it up slightly. There's going to be a clip right here. Using a pair of pliers, we're going to squeeze and push that out. And remove the battery cover. We're going to remove the plastic stay off of the battery tray. There will be a little tab on this top side. Pull up on that tab. Pull up on the tab and remove the connector. Using a 10mm socket, remove the bolt on the outside of the battery tray. Using a trim tool, we're going to pop the clip for the harness. Using a 12mm socket, remove the 3 bolts around the battery tray. One more in the back. There's going to be one more bolt for the battery tray. This is going to be hiding under this black harness. If you move the loom just a little bit, you can find it. Remove the battery tray. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 2 nuts on the shift linkage. This came out as a stud. And that one did as well. Using a 13mm socket and a pair of pliers, I'm going to use the pair of pliers to hold the shift assembly as I use the 13mm socket to remove the nut. Remove the nut from the vehicle. Remove the metal tab. There's one washer that just popped off. Then remove the arm off of the shift assembly. We're going to remove the connector off of the transmission switch. There's going to be a push button on this front side right here. I'm going to push on that. Remove the connector. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 2 bolts. Using a 22mm wrench and a 6mm wrench to hold the pole, we're going to remove the 22mm nut off of the transmission sensor. Remove the nut. Remove the washer. Remove the sensor. Using a 6mm wrench, we're going to turn our pole to the neutral position. We are currently in park, so we'll go from park to reverse and then neutral. Using a flat blade screwdriver, we're going to put our transmission switch into the neutral position. To do this, we're going to turn it until it lines up with this line right here. Then we'll know it's in neutral. Install the sensor. Get the bolt started. Snug them down. We're going to install the lock washer with this arrow in line with the neutral line. Install the locking nut. We're going to use our 6mm wrench to hold the pole as we tighten the transmission switch nut. We're going to tighten this to 8.7 foot-pounds. If you can't get a torque wrench in there, do the best you can. We're going to bend the lock washer tabs over the nut. To reach the back ones, I'm going to pull this pole back into park. And bend the tabs. Used a small hammer and a large flathead to help me finish flattening down those lock tabs. Reach down and grab the shift cable and install it onto the arm. Install the lock washer onto the pole. Install the tab onto the pole with the finger pointing towards the transmission. And install the nut. Using a 12mm wrench, I'm going to snug down the nut. Using a pair of pliers, I'm going to hold the bracket as I tighten the nut. Get it nice and snug. When we were removing the nut for the shift cable, the stud came out with it. So we'll have to remove the nut off of the stud. To do that, we're going to use 2 more nuts. I'm going to put them on the bottom and make them face each other. And using 2 wrenches, we're going to tighten these 2 down on each other. Tighten these down on each other. And then while holding one of them, we'll remove the nut off of the end of the stud. Once you have your nut removed, go ahead and loosen the other two and remove them off of the stud. And now we can install the stud. Get the stud started. To snug these down, you can either use the double nut method or use a stud installer. We're going to be using a stud installer on ours. Get the stud nice and snug. And do that for both of them. If you use the double nut method, go ahead and remove the nuts now. And install the bracket onto the two studs. Install the nuts onto the studs. Snug them down. Get them nice and snug. Install the connector onto the neutral safety switch. Push until you hear a click. If you don't hear a click, give it a pull and make sure it's locked on. I'm gonna get all our wires out of the way. Put our battery tray into place. Install the 4 bolts for the battery tray. Go around and snug down all the bolts. Install the side bracket onto the battery tray. Install the battery. Hook the poles into the hooks at the bottom of the tray. And tighten down the wing nuts. Install the positive battery cable. Snug it down. Install the negative battery cable. Snug it down. Install the harness into the battery protector, and you're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.